My name is Namdi. Just following up from what the gentleman said about mindset, and I think this gentleman talked about ideology, values and ideology. I think it was Joseph Stalin who said that education is a weapon whose effect depends on who holds it and who is directed at. In 1893, the first railway in China was built by the British, okay, during their colonial occupation of China. In Nigeria, the first railway was built in 1897, linking Lagos and Abeokuta, okay? In 2018, we still have Chinese people building our railways and other sensitive infrastructure for us. The Abuja Metro was just completed, I believe, a few weeks ago. And they're currently building the Lagos-Ibadan, I think the Kano-Lagos Railway. So up till today, which is 58 years into our independence, we still have not been able to build the required manpower required to develop such sensitive infrastructure. I believe that that is as a result of the fact that we are yet to decolonize our education, like other emerging countries like China, Korea, Japan, and Singapore. We are yet to decolonize our education. I know you're a stakeholder in the educational sector. You are a chancellor of Bayes University. So what would you do to ensure that our educational sector is decolonized and made to become African-centered in such a way that we, Nigerians, will now be in the position to now develop and manage sensitive infrastructures like the one we see now being rolled out in Nigeria, so that we wouldn't have to be dependent on foreign expatriates that we see, managing our oil sectors, building our refinery, developing our own technology in-house with the support of the government or providing a conducive environment for that. So what could you do to ensure that our educational system is decolonized, because it hasn't been, to ensure that we can build the manpower required as a stakeholder in the educational sector? Thank you.
I view education in 5 different levels, and accordingly, I'll treat it as such. The first level is basic literacy. The second level is awareness. By that I mean civic, societal, and political awareness. The third one is enlightenment, social enlightenment. The fourth level is actually where we're talking about education, where you have diplomas and degrees all the way to masters. The fifth level is professionalism. This I do not attribute to anybody but to myself. This is my own construct. I have not settled down to write a book about this, yet I remain to be corrected on this matter. Nigerian curricula, as it were, is heavily dependent and is non-indigenous. To answer your question is what will I do to decolonize it? Of course, look inward using our own experts. And for your information, I'm not one of those who believe I have a solution to everything. I'm into education, but I'm not an educationist. I will not push my luck. I will work with the best of minds, but I know, again, that in the 3rd millennium, 21st century, technology transfer is a myth, has always been a myth. If you think anybody will transfer technology to you, you're wasting your time. I also know that you cannot, in this day and age, wake up and say you're developing a new technology on what has not been done. It's now genetics, space, and everything. What are you going to do? My brother, what you need to do is adaptation. Adapt the technologies to suit your peculiarities. What are those areas? When you conquer the basic literacy, you move up to the next one, awareness. That's where you will have people being aware of their careers, their trades in stock, and so on and so forth. You should be a leader that can connect with your people to lead a quality revolution in such a way that the plumber will deliver a little more to a certain agreed standard. So will the electrician, so will the mechanic, so will the hotel operators and the caterers. So will the teacher teaching the pupils in the classroom, primary schools, in the secondary schools, all the way to the universities. That quality revolution should come from a leader that the people are able to identify with. Two things. He should be able to design and operate himself and his team and his group for the people to identify with. The second, for the people to condition their minds that they are now ready to work with a progressive cream of leaders that will take them along. Right now, what we need in Nigeria are better builders, better mechanics, better tradesmen, and so on and so forth from the public side. And of course, what we need in Nigeria is to make the best use of our expatriates who are in. The best use of our expatriates, whom you find from Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, in every leading university in Nigeria, and I remain to be corrected, in Europe and America and Canada. Among the top 10 professors, there is a Nigerian. Among the top 10 surgeons in every hospital in Europe and America and Canada, there is a Nigerian. When I started my PhD in Westminster in 1997, the highest paid individual was not the Vice Chancellor. It was a Nigerian director of the IT, head of IT department there. They had to pay him that much to do. It is tapping from our Nigerian resources abroad, sending in technology, sending in know-how, and the rest. But if you think we should develop technologies, technology does not develop in a vacuum. What we have is a vacuum.
Currently, Nigerians have the highest number of students studying in the United States, over 10,000 Nigerians. So getting education, the best of education, or getting expertise has never been our problem. The problem has always been attracting those talents back into Nigeria. And I'll give you a typical example. The last administration, I believe it was the former Minister of Agriculture, Adeshino, and Okonjo-Iweala. They were brought back to Nigeria by a UNESCO fund. There was a UNESCO fund that was set up specifically to enable African countries attract their best and brightest. And that fund specifically will enable those African countries pay those expatriates a certain amount. That is not sustainable for us. We can't do that. If we are to able to pull all our best, our brightest back to the country, that wouldn't be sustainable, because in some cases, we do not have the environment required for them to come back. We cannot pay them the kind of money that they're used to in collecting in their respective countries. So I think that the way forward would be for us to develop our own internally, just like the way we see the Chinese doing it. There are different versions of Chinese technology that are emerging, even though we know like they may have been copied from other countries, and the Japanese and the Koreans as well. So attracting our best and brightest may not necessarily be the best option for us, because we do not have the resources to bring them back. But developing our own in-house, that's why I talked about the decolonization of the educational system. Developing our own in-house will enable us provide the manpower that we need and creating jobs for our people.
One of the best decisions I took in my life was going back to Nigeria in 1999, a decision I have not regretted till today, and I hope I will not regret. I could have stayed back here. Maybe we would have finished paying a mortgage by now. Maybe started a second one and finished paying a car and the rest. But against all odds, I went back to Nigeria. and started a whole new life there. And I believe I'm better for it. The answers I've been giving you from when we started are linked to each and everything we're talking about now because they are so fundamental. You are talking about making the environment suitable for Nigerians to come back and prosper, Nigerian professionals to come back and prosper. What better answer is there when you improve the security in Nigeria and you attract investment in such a way that every month you have given confidence to Nigerian diaspora that they are getting between 1.5 to 2% on deposits here. Okay, Nigeria is paying you 4%, which is 100% of 2%, the best they are getting. Or you can release equity from a property you finished mortgaging at 3% and then send it to Nigeria and be getting 6% on deposit. That is 100%. This I will use to flood Nigerian banks with lendable funds. So when I told you that everything is linked to nearly everything, it's like a very complex machine. That's what I mean. And when you have Nigerian banks ready and able to lend those kind of funds, then you go back to Nigeria. If you want to set up a dental practice, for example, now that, for example, you need to begin with an initial capital outlay of 50 million. My vision for Nigeria is that you don't have to spend that 50 million. You can start with 5 million naira. You rent the office space. Instead of paying for 2 years, we would have changed the system. You sign the 2-year contract and be paying, because if your check bounces, you're in trouble. It's a criminal offense then. And then you can hire purchase everything from the dental equipment all the way to your computers, to the vehicle, to the furniture and everything. Then you have lots of people come back to Nigeria. You've made setting up businesses and running businesses a lot easier to start, and they pay the rest as they move along. And don't forget one fundamental issue. You have released more money into people's pockets. Households can now afford housing, they can afford better feeding, better clothing, better entertainment, education, and everything. And like I keep saying, my ground zero is the police constable. A police constable who is a family of 2, himself and the wife, what can 100,000 naira do for him? It can pay a mortgage. Sir, you people will get busy. The children can go to school. That money is going into the private sector. You're talking of hundreds of thousands, millions of people like him who 100,000 is coming clean and they're not keeping it for themselves. It's going into the economy. Right now, you don't want to see how police constables are living. Dormitories is a glorification of the conditions in which they live. And what did I say? Nothing happens so quickly, so drastic overnight. And that is how you know leaders that mean business and leaders that don't mean business. How did I say it? That the salaries of June 19 are going to be 50% literally of what May 2019 is, by the grace of God Almighty. And of course, I'm not oblivious of the fact that there is need for appropriation and the rest and the rest. I know what I'm talking about. The balance of 250 to quadruple it is going to be spread into 47 months. So in the next 47 months, you will see your salaries jump by about 2.8883% every month for the next 47 months. And if I'm able to achieve this, what is the ultimate effect of this? I'm trying to give some humanity back to your security operatives, from the police constable to the army private to the customs officer, to the immigration officer, to the public servant who is carrying files from desk to desk, teacher in front of pupils, teacher, lecturer in front of students, nurse who welcomes patients into hospitals, so on and so forth. Give some humanity back to them. Redirect their loyalty to their nation and to their profession. In that way, the police constable will not collect bribe, 15 naira on the streets. Use heavily use technology. Where we have to move away from this barbaric situation where you see an officer, not even rank and file of the police, standing in front of a car blocking the car. We have to move, give some humanity back to people. The same thing with road safety and all that. You can use technology to stop that, and very cheap also, very cheap. If you have every SIM card registered, including biometrics and voice, I wonder who would be so dumb to negotiate ransom on phone. Technology for you. I'm talking of a situation where you have every police station in Nigeria. You have our unemployed youth. All they need is a laptop and a printer, card printer, working 3 shifts a day, 8 hours. And you give 30 days for all Nigerians to have compulsory national ID card. You have wiped about 1 million unemployed youth from the market, and they will continue to live decent lives. Simple use of technology. And you cannot get into public transport. You cannot go into malls or anything of that sort. You cannot go into a hotel. You cannot go into hospitals without being identified. I want you to tell me who will come out on the road from one community to go and kill others in another community when they know they're identified. Because it's simple logic. The DPO has a list of all those who are local within. So if you kill me 100 citizens in this place, it's easy. I have a data set. I know where to start working from. Right now, it's a lawless society because it's everybody for everybody. You can come out from Niger Republic, you can come out from Sudan, you can come out from anywhere, go into the middle of Nigeria, commit any crime, nothing happens. This is still the country that you can drive a car from the day you get it till the day you throw it away without number plate. Nobody cares. All these things have to be stopped, and it has to come from the top. Very simple technologies, very simple ones. It's a matter of mindset. They will be done. The next leader you have must be somebody who is ready to practically micromanage Nigeria. Leadership in Nigeria should not be about guidelines, framework, blue paper, blueprint. No. It's about, I want you to take a definite action today, and I want to start seeing results by tomorrow. I'm impatient, we're in a bad situation, and I need to start seeing results immediately. Go and find where those terrorists are, destroy them. Those criminals, find out where they are, round them up, and end it.
Dr. Baba Ahmed, thank you for this opportunity. You know, it takes somebody who's got great art to say, I want to contest for the presidency of Nigeria. We know it's not an easy task. I turned 50 2 months ago. And growing up as a little boy, so many things worked in Nigeria. And I do travel home regularly. Some of us that are in the United Kingdom today is not because we want to come and live here. We saw the decadence, decay that was happening in our country, and we're looking for a better opportunity. I'm not sure if I'm speaking for everybody, but I believe that's why a lot of people are here all over the world. And every time we go back home, nothing is still working. And every 4 years, there are promises, we'll do this, we'll do that. Every 4 years when there's election, whichever party, either it's PDP or APC, it's the same rhetoric that we hear. And the position of the presidency of Nigeria is something that somebody who has sympathy for the people. And when I look at even the president now or the past, it seems as if there's no agenda for Nigerians. It's easy to say that Nigerians produce the kind of leader they have, but the structure from independence to date has made Nigerian people, put them in a situation where they don't even have a choice. They don't even believe about the Nigerian dream anymore. I watched a documentary when the first Nigerian prime minister was in the United States, and the whole world was saying this country is going to be a great nation. I also watched a documentary of Awolowo when they started the first TV station in Nigeria. And that tells me that our country can be great. And I keep looking at, will it be in my own generation or in another generation? Because I'm 50 years and we're still talking about power, power, power for 50 years. It's nothing to be celebrated about. And I strongly believe that it's not difficult to make things work in Nigeria. It's a design not to make Nigeria work. People might say maybe I'm crazy, but I believe that if we really determined to make Nigeria work, Nigeria will work. If you are given this opportunity to serve our nation, next president of this country, how will you make Nigeria work? You see, it's not about paper. Because Nigerian problem is gone beyond paper. Sometimes you need somebody who is crazy to rule Nigeria because we're tough. You need somebody who is crazy that will not take, because we have fatherism, motherism in politics. The way we fund our politics is people will have spent all their fortune to get to power. When they get to power, no matter what we call it, they want to, even the bank will lend them money. They have to pay back. So our political structure, funding is, in this country, some of us that belong to political party, they collect money, £3, £5 every month. It's membership funding. My question, sir, I like the vibes. I like some of the things you've shared. And it's not true that we don't know what is happening on ground. We have parents, we have families we send money to. We go there, we see the poverty that is happening in our country. And this country is full of resources. When I went back home to my hometown, some of the schools that I saw, I cannot send my chicken to go to that school. That's the decay that we see. All our institutions. Great, you are into education, you have, but look at it. All the great schools are not working. More of the private schools, what we see, that we celebrate today. All the federal government schools, all the universities, the schools that are working now are the private institutions. Not a problem. But what happens to our old schools? Infrastructure is decay. The roads are not there working. These hospitals are not there. Many of our people go to India. And all this is surrounding our economy and things that we could do to make Nigeria work. Nigeria needs to work. And I believe you can do it, but how will you make Nigeria work? For a common man that cannot eat 3 square meals, that will say, yes, I have a president. I believe in Nigeria. This is my country. Nobody wants to die for Nigeria. If anything happens to me today, by virtue that I carry a British passport, they will try their best for me. Can I say about that? Nigeria or America or Canada or all these other countries. Sir, these are the things that I want you to look into. How will we make Nigeria to work for everybody without knowing anybody? Every aspect of Nigeria. And we can say it's
Right, it's an understatement.
okay. I can give you.
I agree with you. No. I agree with you to the extent that it is even an understatement to say that, yeah.
And you see, we want Nigeria to work. We want to have a place we can be proud of to say is our country.
So how are we going to do it?
What is your blueprint?
Thank you.
What is your blueprint?
What, such a general question, but it's a good one. Let me apologize. You know, when I said that you're here, you don't know what, I meant it proverbially, figuratively, not, effectually. Apologies for that. But to an extent, it's possibly true.
My real question. That was just a follow-up, actually.
Anyway,
I've got a real question.
in the last 1 hour that we've been here, I'd like to say that I have answered the better part of your question. But let me take it afresh. How are we going to make Nigeria work? First and foremost is that we have to end the award of inflated government contracts. I agree with you that Nigeria should not be about paper. And that's why just before you asked me your question, I was luckily telling you that the next president of Nigeria must be somebody who is practically ready to micromanage Nigeria. Nigeria is not going to be about speeches. It's not going to be about blueprint, economic development strategy, bill launched, those kind of fancy things. No, it is about quality decisions being taken. And you've had a great many campaign promises and speeches, many from today. How many people did you ever hear coming to speak specifically that I'm going to stop the award of inflated government contracts? You've never heard. Now, there's no use giving too much credit to myself. I'll leave you to judge from what you hear from me. But believe you me, this is different from what you know. When Buhari said he was going to fight corruption, how? If you ask Buhari now, how is corruption in Nigeria done?
It's triple.
He does not even, how does it occur? How does it happen? I don't believe he even knows how corruption is done. But after your text message, I'll continue as a, no. Anyway, right, so that is number one. But fundamentally, even before then, is that you need a leader who says what he means what he says, and sets out to do what he is committed to. This is the beginning yet of another cream of leadership for Nigeria. Many times they ask me, how do you differ from the others? And how I start telling them is that besides the fact that we're all human, we're all Nigerians, I think I mean what I'm saying. And I say what I really, really mean. Beyond that, I'm really committed to doing. It's not just to sit down and talk. Very fanciful speeches that someone has sitting down to write for you. And the whole country has been conditioned to learn that. Not too long ago in a class in Harvard Business School, I was saying there that I tend to wonder sometimes the difference between Barack Obama and Eddie Murphy. He didn't quite get what I was saying. I said both of them are entertainers. The only difference is that one of them has a nuclear code. Besides the nuclear code, Barack Obama is Eddie Murphy. Go there, every day you see him, he's talking, reading speeches. Now in Nigeria, we are trying to get the same thing. We have imbibed, we have bought into that culture, that it is how eloquent your speech is. It is how you make people happy. You've reduced leadership to entertainers. That is wrong. You need people who really, however poorly they put it across. I may not be an eloquent speaker, but to God I know I mean what I'm saying. Right. Just to finish answering his question. Stabilize the Naira. If your Naira is going to continue to lose its value, whatever you're doing is going to be continued to washed away. It's like you're building a house. You retire for the night, come back the next day, you have some layers of the blockwork done, taken out. Bring down interest rates, and then the principle of living wage. The salary of ground zero, that is the lowest paid public servant, must carry him from the first day of the month to the last day of the month. These things I told you about is what my leadership is all about.
Can I ask a question between that?
Yeah, sure.
What will your minimum wage be?
I will not tell you an exact figure. That I will not tell you, but my ambition is to quadruple from what I meet on ground, the lowest. What you're earning in a month, to earn it in a week.